Yeah, don't play that crew. Anyway, let's talk about Ramos. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do, whether you buy the Ramos alt or Ramos alone, or you buy the box set, is you're going to want to buy the compulsory buy for the set, which is the Electrical Creation. Buy one and exactly one. Not like Nicodem, where you want to buy hordes of zombies. You will only need one Electrical Creation. So that is a must buy. But what we're going to talk about today is what I consider to be probably the second most important buy for the Ramos crew, besides that Electrical Creation, which is Totems. So Arcanist Masters do really well with Totems. In fact, I would go as far as to say that we've got some of the best Totems in the game. And Ramos actually has access to 5 Totems. I'm omitting the Malifaux Child because I don't own the Malifaux Child. And there's a very good reason for that. Not a very good fit with the crew. Kind of just does one weird card trick. May end up I probably am going to end up getting one anyways because I think it's interesting. But probably not going to run him with Ramos. Now, of the 4 here, I'm going to go ahead and eliminate the Student of Conflict immediately. Even though, the Student of Conflict has that really cool assist ability to give its master fast. Not great for a Ramos crew. I mean, you could obviously play with one and have some interesting games, but probably not the best idea. Same with the Essence of Power. The Essence of Power is the generic Arcanist totem, and it's a great totem, actually, for Rasputina. Not so good for Ramos. Because all that it would be able to do is boost that electrical fire spell. Now the 2 that I really want to talk about are these 2. The Brass Arachnid and the Mobile Toolkit. Now when you talk to most people, they're going to tell you that the Mobile Toolkit is the most efficient totem for Ramos. And for the most part that's true. The Mobile Toolkit does one thing incredible for Ramos, is in that it gives Ramos his needed tomes. And that plays to a very particular playstyle, that being the most commonly employed Ramos playstyle, which is to make use of the 2 spells that he has that requires tomes. One of which being Summon Spider. So this Summon Spider and Summon Electrical Creation. So the Mobile Toolkit gives Ramos that tomes that he needs in order to cast those spells. And it's a very efficient totem for that. It allows you to play that Spider Factory or that Electrical Creation floating landmine of death thing that Ramos can do. And it's great for that. It also has Link, which is also awesome. Actually, it's a different form of Link that allows you to push to Ramos at the end of any activation. And when in base contact with Ramos, it's immune to blasts and pulses. So it's really good at that one job, and it just so happens that that one job is great for Ramos, and most people will swear by that. I think that if you're just starting with Ramos, this is probably where you're going to want to go, because it's going to make getting your spells off easier. It's going to teach you a little bit more about the crew, and if you're struggling to get the right suits in order to cast some of Ramos' spells, it could be a massive problem. The Mobile Toolkit, also ideal if you are taking Avatar Ramos, and we'll get into that in a later video. So even though Avatar Ramos is going to remove his totems, we're going to look at a way that you can end up losing the Mobile Toolkit, but gaining a couple of things in the process. So the other totem that we're going to focus in on is the Brass Arachnid. Now, unlike the other totems that we talked about, the brass arachnid is the one that is unique to Ramos. Now I know what you're thinking. Mobile Toolkit is probably also unique to Ramos, but it's not. C. Hoffman can also take the Mobile Toolkit, and it's a pretty good totem for him as well. But we're going to talk about the brass arachnid right now. And the difference between these two totems, which are going to be, in my opinion, your key choice of totems, it's gonna come down to these two. You're probably going to want to buy both. But the thing about these two totems is, depending on which one you take, it changes Ramos' playstyle. Now with the Mobile Toolkit, like I said, you're going to get your tomes, you're going to cast Summon, Spider, and you're going to cast Electrical Creation, and those are great, and it's going to help you Avatar. Again, also great, very useful totem. But the Brass Arachnid does something a little bit different and a little bit controversial. You see, the Brass Arachnid, for one, has better statistics than the Mobile Toolkit, and this is something that most people forget. Now, what people focus in on is the Brass Arachnid's one spell called Stoke. This is an incredibly powerful spell because it allows a construct within 6 inches to reactivate. And as you know, reactivate is a great talent. The thing about that spell, though, even though it's only a one action spell, is that it has a ridiculously high casting cost. So the spell requires, I believe, a 16 tome. The Brass Arachnid, though it has a great cast for a totem, it's got a cast of a 5 book, is going to require an 11 tome or higher. What that means is, in your deck, you're really only going to have 4 cards that will allow you to cast Stoke. So the likelihood of you being able to get this off in-game is fairly low. And in all probability, you know, at best case scenario, you think you're probably going to get that reactivate off twice. Now, for that reason, people look at Stoke and people look at the Brass Arachnid and say, well, it's not really worth taking, it's not very good. But what they're ignoring is the idea that the Brass Arachnid, on paper at least, has some pretty good stats to it. It's got that good cast, like I said. It's got a defensive 6, so it's a pretty reasonably, and the armor +1, so it's a pretty reasonably tough totem to take down as far as totems are concerned. It has actually a respectable damage arc, considering it's a CB4. It's got a 133 damage arc, and that's really good for a 2-point model. So the Brass Arachnid has all of those things going for it. And what it really does, what it really means for you in running your Ramos crew, is that you're going to be relying on unsuited spells from turn to turn and waiting for those opportunities to get your tomes in hand so that you can do Summon Spiders, so that you can summon Electrical Creation. And for the most part, you're going to be using Ramos' other spells. So you're going to be using a lot of Arcing Screen and a lot of Electrical Fire. And those spells are fine. It's just that most people don't like to get into combat with Ramos. And those two spells are designed for Ramos either being able to make ranged attacks, or they're there to protect him. So it's a different playstyle of Ramos. This is more of a generalist playstyle, and the Brass Arachnid really kind of lends to that. That said, you know, if you're playing Ramos, you're playing Ramos to play Ramos. You want to summon spiders, you want to summon landmines, and you want to do that as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So therefore, the Mobile Toolkit, in my opinion, still the better totem, even though I would say you're okay to take both. Now, as far as development is concerned, your best bet is to start with the Mobile Toolkit. So if you're asking me, the first 2 things you need to buy for a Ramos crew is you're going to need to buy the Electrical Creation, again, just one, and you're going to want to buy this Mobile Toolkit. Now, that's fine for probably 90% of your games, but after fashion, you want to try playing Ramos in a different manner, then switch it out. Go ahead and pick up the Brass Arachnid. I would pick up both if you have access to do that. Pick up both the Mobile Toolkit and the Brass Arachnid and try them both ways, because believe it or not, there are some people that prefer to play Ramos without playing the Spider Factory. They want to play him more like a kind of a generalist type master who can shoot, who's going to make use of things like arcing screen, and who can make use of when he can reactivate. Probably going to want to put some more soul stones into the crew than you normally would with the mobile toolkit, so keep that in mind. And yeah, it's a different playstyle, but it's not one to be ignored. So anyway, that's what we're talking about. Those are the totems, at least from my perspective, the two totems that you want to look at. You want to start with the toolkit, and then, you know, you probably want to mix in some games with the brass arachnid and just try it out. Because I really do believe that you're going to learn more about playing Ramos and playing his crew if you wean yourself off of the mobile toolkit. So, you know, just some food for thought. Now, if you're attaching the avatar to Ramos, and we'll talk about avatars in an upcoming video, you are going to want to use the mobile toolkit even when you are attaching the avatar, because the mobile toolkit will help you avatar much more quickly. And again, when we look at the method of manifesting, you're not going to be losing the points on that mobile toolkit. So that's it for this session of Rambling About Ramos. I hope that this was helpful to somebody. We're going to continue on talking about what your crew options are going to be, and they're quite a bit. But I believe probably for the next video we're going to talk about Avatar Ramos in particular. And the reason why I want to jump into that so early is because I do believe, at least for me, that was a pretty big jump in the learning experience as far as running this master. So that's it for tonight, and have a good one. Talk to you guys later. Bye.